So we're here with stand-up comedian Rajiv Satyal. Now, you left a pretty good job to become a comedian. You're in the business world, and was that a difficult thing to do?
It was, in a way, yeah. I mean, I worked at P&G, Punjabis and Gujaratis, for 6 years. And you know who, we talked about that line was Russell, so I got to name drop that, since I'm in the TO, the city that Russell built, I guess. It's one of the, I kind of felt this calling, and I'd been doing stand-up on the side for a while, and I asked a friend of mine, I said, how do you know, because he had worked at P&G for a long time and became a stand-up comic, he's headlining all over the States. I said, when do you know? Like, how do you know when to make the leap? And, because I know a lot of people do stuff on the side or whatever, and they're like, do I make it a career? He said it's going to come down to a day where you've got a client meeting in one city for work, and you've got a gig in another city for comedy or music or whatever you're doing. And you've been saying, I gotta do the client thing, and one day you're gonna say F it, and you're gonna do, the gig. And he's right, that's exactly what it came down to. You got to a point, there was a day where I'm like, I wanna do the gig. That's when I knew directionally where I was going, so.
And ever since, it's just been a great ride. Like, I mean, this is way more fulfilling, I guess, than working at P&G.
It has been a great ride. I liked P&G a lot. I liked corporate America, and if you talk to, I'm hanging out here with Papa CJ, he's like, you're so formal. I do have this, like, very corporate sort of air about me, I think. And, which I think is funny. I mean, I try to be conversational, too, but I think a lot of that stuff is sort of stuck. So I feel like that corporate stuff is, what do they say, take the boy out of corporate America, but you can't take corporate America out of the boy, or that phrase has been appropriated for a lot of different things, but I think I'm still like that. So I enjoyed it. I liked P&G, I liked working at Fiji Water and some of the other things I did, Johnson & Johnson, give you my whole resume. But this is a lot more fulfilling. This is what I want to do, and I can't really get in trouble for saying the crazy things I do now, so that's good. I don't think, at least.
What's the weirdest thing a heckler has ever said to you?
The weirdest thing is probably something unintelligible. I mean, something I couldn't, and that person wouldn't repeat or whatever, and all that stuff. I almost welcome hecklers. I think it's funny, and I think because I think if the comic is strong enough, I think that it's a can't lose situation. If the heckler says something funny, everybody enjoys it, and I think it's a comic. I look at myself kind of, yeah, I'm a funny guy, but I don't look at myself so much as an artist, as kind of a fun facilitator. Like if you come out, see, there's the corporate in me coming out, facilitator. I don't know what other, not to be too artistic about it. This is the word facilitator, but I think that's the job. Like, I mean, I think people leave my show and they go, he's funny. But the main thing is I want people to go, we had fun tonight. And I think that's all that matters. I don't think it's, hey, look at me, I'm so funny. I think it's, hey, let's all of us, whether there's 2 of us, or there's 10,000 of us, let's laugh together and have a good time. And that, to me, that's what it's about. So if the heckler contributes to that in a good way, then great. And if he or she is terrible, it's usually he. If he's terrible, then then it gives you an opportunity to display your skills. So I think it's a can't lose if you handle it the right way.
And what happens if they don't laugh? What happens?
Well, CJ's act is that way. No one laughs at his joke, so that's why he feels. That's why he literally kisses up to me.
South Asian comics are very
that's what
tight community.
God. Without the shirt too, he's really got some balls. Well, I don't want to say balls because I don't know. He's got that part covered up right now. We don't want to. We want to know what's going to happen. But there he goes. There he comes back with his. He's going to drop his fly now. But at any rate. Okay, now he's just taking it out of his wallet. I was worried about what's coming out of his pocket. It's a back pocket, so I know his is pretty long though. He's gonna fold it all the way to the back. It's like, so I don't know that. I should be careful since we're sitting in his hotel room. Just scratch the whole last 2 minutes. Anyway, just re-ask the question. Yeah. Okay. You were saying sometimes about.
Oh yeah. What happens if people don't laugh?
That's an old quote, right? They say in comedy, at least if you mess up, nobody laughs, right? If they don't laugh, I think people react to it differently. I have this sort of very, self-aggrandizing followed by self-deprecating voice. My voice is very king, court jester, king, court jester, king, court jester. That's my track. It's almost like you're watching me on a DVD commentary sort of thing, where it's the movie and then you got the director saying things. So I make these strong statements, I'm making these compelling points, and then I'm cutting up. And so I think it's the cutting up part of me that prevents it from being a total egg. Where I can be like, all right, guys, that's not working, let's try this. Right. Whereas I've seen people who have a very presentational format where they've got their bits, or as CJ says, their gags that are very, they're scripted. And they are very, it is what it is. And if they don't get laughs, there's really nothing they can do to deviate from that script.
Right.
And those are the people I feel really sorry for. I saw somebody eat it in Columbus, Ohio, and walked about a third of the room. I think people who weren't smokers took up smoking to leave the place. I think they were doing lines in the bathroom just to get out of there. But, you know, I think if you're funny about it and self-deprecating about it, I think it can only go so poorly.
Do people expect you to be funny off stage because you are a comic?
Yeah, and luckily I am. I'm hilarious. So looks aren't everything, I guess. But no, I'm somebody who has always enjoyed just being funny. But I'm in what I would say probably, going back to corporate, 80-20 rule. I think only 20% of comics are like me, who are just like life of the party, fun-loving, just happy people who just want to have a good time. Steve Martin was that way on stage, and I think in his acting as well. Whereas 80% of comics are sort of depressed, insecure, screwed-up types who really just kind of almost use comedy as therapy. And I think that's fine. I'm not knocking them. But if you're like, hey, I'm going to hang out with a comic tonight, if you told me that, I'd be like, oh, okay. They're like, oh, it's going to be fun. I'm like, 4 out of 5 chance it's probably not going to be that much fun. But hopefully I pride myself on being on the 1 out of 5 side.
And aside from, like, you know, working and writing material, like, what do you like to do? What are some of the things that you're interested in?
What else do I like to do? I think funnyindian.com is fun with the camera is becoming an enterprise, not just a person. I mean, I feel like I am a comic, a stand-up, you know, who does improv as well and acting, doing the auditioning thing. Now when I meet actors in LA, they're like, "Oh, I'm an actor." I'm like, "Really? Which restaurant?" Because you feel like that's all you meet. But I think with acting and writing and all that stuff, and I've done some creative work. The book I'm reading right now is about creative advertising and trying to do that since I have a marketing background. And trying to do some consulting work that I've spoken to NFL teams, talking to CJ about doing some stuff with him, consulting corporate sort of stuff, and developing comedy workshops. And I do a lot of sort of stuff during the day that, you know, I get up, I go to bed at 3 in the morning, but I get up at 9. And I think that's pretty rare for a comic to get up that early and get after it. It just doesn't seem to me enough hours in the day. So I don't just do the stand-up thing. I found that out when I was in LA for a few months. I had a meeting with NBC. Drop that in too while we're at it. Los Peters, NBC, what else? I've dropped CJ's name in a few times to give myself some credibility internationally. And the VP I was meeting with, asked, what else are you doing? And it occurred to me that I was supposed to be doing something else in addition to just doing stand-up. And like, what are the sketches, what are the videos you're making? And so I reached out to people. CJ and I are doing some work together. Azhar Usman, the Muslim comic. Melanie, my friend, we've co-hosted some shows. So done some stuff that is a little bit outside of just stand-up. And I think that's important. They all inform each other, and to the extent that you can use that background, it's good.
And ideally on TV, what would you like to do? What would you like to get into?
I want to host the Oscars. That's what I want to do. That's my simple thing. I'm not even going to describe what CJ's doing. You can't put that on TV, whatever he was doing. Just leave that to your imagination. But essentially, I want to host the Oscars. That's a very clear goal. It's a hell gig. It's a very hard thing to get laughs at, but I think it'd be a cool thing to do. I want my own talk show. I mean, I've always seen myself as kind of a, you know, aspiring to be someday like a Leno, Letterman, Carson type person. Johnny Carson, not Carson Daly, but Carson Daly's fine too. But that's what I kind of see myself doing. Sure, network sitcom's great, but I've seen myself more in the variety show, talk show sort of format. I love to talk to people. I've enjoyed our interviews, and I think you ask really good questions. So just put in a plug for you while we're at it. But I enjoy doing this sort of thing and banter and getting to know a person. And you're making it about me. When I interview people, I like to make it about them too. So I think that's great.
Awesome. All right, so I appreciate your time again. Sure. And funnyindian.com.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I got to get the plug in, and of course the show for Friday night. I think you're probably going to get that up there as well. So
definitely.
Very cool. But yeah, add me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. I got to throw all that stuff in. So check it out.
Perfect.
So, but thanks, Jitin,
Thanks a lot, man.
fellow Punjabi. So,
fellow Punjabi.
Right on.
Nice.